welcome to the second webinar of Innovate with Ignite. My name is Aradhata and I am scientific communication expert at Ignite. And here in this webinar, we usually discuss topics that are at the heart of business innovation and technology within the life science R&D. Ignite is a life science consultancy, and here we offer multiple services, including business analysis for R&D automation and digitalization projects. R&D automation digitalization highly enhances the efficiency as well as it drives innovation within the life science R&D. So today's topic is business analysis, and the guest for today is Alice, whom you have actually met in the last webinar that we had as a host, but today she's our guest because let me tell you a little bit more about Alice, as she has done multiple projects on agile business analysis, and she has gained a certain expertise now in the field. So we have some questions regarding her experience, her challenges, and the kind of solutions that she has found until now in this field. So Alice, to you, my first question is, what would you define are the key factors that drive a successful business analysis project?
That's a good question. So the factors leading to success when it comes to agile business analysis. So the first factor, in my opinion, would be to have a cross-functional team. So promoting collaboration between diverse team members is really a key to leading to success. So having a team in which where you have scientists, researchers, IT professionals, data analysts, business analysts as well, is really important. And what is important as well is to enhance and promote the collaboration between those members and the communication. So to make sure that everyone's voices and perspectives are taken into account. So that would be the first factor. The second one would be to adopt a user-centric approach. So I believe that it's primordial to put the user needs at the heart of the business analysis. So the business analyst will meet with the key users to discuss the requirements, and the goal at the end is really to have a solution that fulfill the needs and overcome the pain points of the end users. And the third factor would be to have a clear communication setup and clear user role definition. So I believe that in a team, it's really important that everyone knows what is their role and what is their function. It's also important to understand what is the goal of each meeting. When you're joining a meeting, you need to understand, okay, what are we going to talk about? What do I need to prepare? So having a clear communication and setup is really a key to success.
So my second question to you in this business analysis field would be, as a business analyst, you are always talking to your key users or end users, which are usually scientists or researchers. And these are the people who have invested years doing these processes manually, or maybe some other software that they had since years now. And when you go to them and implement a new automation or digitalization process project, and you need to gain information from them about what's happening, and they have a certain resistance to this change. So how is it? How do you convince them to give you this time and to give you this information that you require as a business analyst?
Yeah, so you're right. It's really challenging to make scientists or researchers understand the benefits of switching from manual process, or even from a traditional software or tool that they use, to this new tool or this new software that we want to implement. And I'm convinced that in that case, in this context, the business analyst plays a really important role. And I'm going to explain why. So the first reason is the business analyst is the person meeting the end users on a regular basis. So the business analyst conducts surveys and interviews with the key users to gather the feedback. So it shows the end users that their value their input is valuable, and that their opinion matters. So it's really this empowerment of to empower the end user to make the solution their own solution at the end. That is really important. And the second point, and it's really primordial in my opinion, it's to have a proper training for the end users, in a tailored training, because changing solutions, adopting new tools is always challenging. So imagine if you don't know how the tool works, if you don't really see the benefits of adopting a new solution or a new tool, then it's even more complex. So I think supporting the key users during this transition by providing trainings and weekly support, constant support, it's really game changer, and it helps making this transition as seamless as possible.
So my next question to you is, when you start a project, like any other project, there are many uncertainties, but especially with these kind of R&D automation projects, there's also a lot of evolving requirements, because it keeps changing what can happen, what do they need. And so how is it that when you call yourself that you are an agile business analyst, what is it within you or as an agile business analyst that helps you bring in this or accommodate this adaptability of the project?
So yeah, you're right. Uncertain and changing requirements are quite common in when you implement a new software, and I would say even more when you're in licensed R&D setting. And agile business analysis, agile methodologies provide a framework to accommodate to those changes. So the first tool is user stories with acceptance criteria. So user stories are a concise and feature-focused way to describe a requirement, and they're really easy to modify first and also to reproduce. So it brings me to having a proper and prioritized product backlog. So product backlog management is really important. It's important to review the requirements on a regular basis, to meet with the whole team and to go through them to make sure that everyone understands the requirements and to refine them when it's needed. The second point is that agile methodologies promote iterative development cycles. So it's development cycles that are done into time-boxed cycles, so we call them sprints. And at the end of each sprint, we gather the feedback from the users and we adapt the solution and the requirements based on this feedback. So this allows the project team to accommodate rapidly if we have a new requirement or if we have a change of requirement, because every 2 weeks we have a touch base at least with the end users, and we gather their feedback. And the last point would be to have a clear communication with all the stakeholders. So it's important that all the stakeholders of the project are aware of what are the changes, the reason behind the changes, and the impact of those changes on the project or on the project team. So transparency and communication is key when it comes to change management.
The last question that I have for you is that if you see now, the entire industry, the entire life science industry is actually moving towards such automation and digitalization of processes, and most of them require this kind of business analysis, but many still use the traditional way of business analysis rather than the agile one. But I think they would like to move, or they would like to transit. And how can you help them? What would you suggest them? What is it that successfully provides this transition from traditional to agile methodology of business analysis?
So I would tell any company that wants to do this transition from traditional working mode to an agile working mode, that there is a lot of endless benefits to do this when you do this transition. But of course, it requires careful planning. So my first advice would be to do a readiness assessment of your company. So to evaluate the current processes, the culture, and the limitations also that you have in the company to do this transition of working mode. And during this assessment, you need to identify champions in your company, so people that will drive the transition, people that will make it work. So that's the first point. The second one would be to promote cross-functional teams, because it's really important to have a multidisciplinary team, and Agile working mode thrives on collaboration between members with different backgrounds, because they bring different insights, they bring different inputs and values in the project. So that's a key point to consider. My last advice would be to recognize that there is no one size fits all at the end, and that every Agile methodology needs to be adapted to your limitations, to the number of people that you have in your team, to the diversity of your team, to your budget, to a lot of stuff. And at the end, do the transition and embrace success.
Thank you, Alice. Thank you for sharing your insights with us. And thank you all for tuning in. And if you want to get more information, more insights into the life science landscape of R&D automation and digitalization, stay tuned with Innovate with a Night. And ask yourself, are you lightning quick?